X-Men 97. It's going to be delayed until 2026. What the hell's going on? Is that all the controversy? Is that rewrites? Is that waiting till season 3 is done? What is the deal with X-Men 97? We're going to talk about that and much more on today's episode of the Kristian Harloff Show. Thanks for joining us here today. Let's get into it, man. It's me, and it's Mike, and it's Steph. Here we go. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the show. It's me, Kristian Harloff, joined, as always, on Wednesdays by Mike Kalinowski, Steph Sabra. It's the three of us. Hello, how are you?
Hey.
Oh, Mike's muted? That's actually...
No, I'm just there. They got the guys, perfect timing with the lawnmower, as always. You have your leaf blower.
Nice.
Got the lawnmower.
It wouldn't
I'll
have
mute
been,
myself, don't
yeah,
worry.
it wouldn't have been good if we didn't have the leaf blower, right, Steph?
Yeah, no, not a show at all. I'll have to call my guys out too.
I love that you were the first person to comment on that short yesterday with Roxy. Was that the best?
I was so happy that sometimes I go on Instagram. I go on Instagram like twice a day, maybe 3 times, and sometimes I go and I'm like, you guys got nothing from me. Screw you. Yeah. Then yesterday I go on and I was like, oh man, it was the first one on my feed. I was like, it
was so good. Did you see it? Did you get a chance to see it, Mike?
I did not, no.
Oh my gosh. So we were talking about that new Aubrey Plaza movie. It's called My Old Ass. And so Roxy goes, you know, who? Oh, the main guy in My Old Ass is so good. And I just lost it. We went on, and she goes, I caught it. It was good. So we'll see how it does. But we got a lot to talk about here today. And as always, everybody in the chat, I see you. I hear you. We got a lot going on. Steph, it's a good start already with Mike here. So, Mike, I don't know if you know, we've been doing a contest now with the questions.
Yeah, you started with Roca, was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, so Roca started, and then Winston kind of blew him out of the water with 104 or something. But the last 2 weeks, Roca's been on top. Roca started on last Monday, won it with like 73. He's in the lead right now, is 74 for Monday. So I don't think you guys have been together yet. So look, we haven't even started yet. We just started. You guys are already at 20, so that's pretty good.
Oh, my gosh.
That's big.
Yes.
You guys have a chance to beat Roca today.
I kept saying that, Mike. I was like, this is so unfair because I'm now a team with Mike.
That's right.
So if he's not here, that's not a fair way to test.
No. Well, so we'll see.
Watch.
We'll see if we can beat Roca today. Okay, so we have this story that I got to get into because I saw it, and I automatically thought of you guys, and then I was like, this is one we got to discuss because this is huge. This is one of the most popular shows this year, and that's X-Men 97, Season 2, delayed to 2026. Even if it lost the animated Emmys, the first season of Marvel's X-Men 97 series remains arguably the most acclaimed work that the studio has released in years. Even with controversy surrounding former showrunner DeMayo and his firing, the anticipation remains high for the show's second season. While that anticipation may have to wait a little longer. A new report from Nexus Point News claims that the second season of the series won't be returning to the streaming platform until 2026. DeMayo's writing commitments towards the second season were completed before he was let go, and that news broke. Matthew Chauncey was announced as the new head writer for the third season. Today's report claims that Chauncey is apparently reworking the draft that DeMayo penned before being dismissed, and so the delay is due to the changes being made to the story and the scripts. X-Men, the animated series executive producers Larry Houston and Eric and Julie Lewald will remain in their roles as consulting producers, and the main voice cast are expected to return. Disney Plus already has a full Marvel animation slate in 2025 with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Marvel Zombies, and a third season of What If, all expected to hit. So this is an interesting story. The first part of it is the team, to me, Mike, I'll start with you here, where DeMayo, obviously very vocal in a lot of the ways that he left, a lot of things that he was working on. Season 2 seemed to be already, like, it wasn't a problem. It looks like Season 2's done, we got it, it's moving. And then Season 3, but now it looks like they're going to rewrite some of his stuff. A, is this a mistake? Or B, is it, hey, look, take your time. You have enough animation coming out in 2025. Let's make it count.
This is one of those things, I don't know if I would touch with the 10-foot pole. to talk about, because like it did seem like they were ready to go on season 2. Like it was the voice actors had said they were filming or recording, and now you're changing stuff. It seems maybe the fact that like he was so involved, the former showrunner, and that he did write it all, but now the credits and where they want to apply the credits and who he's going to get, how he's going to get paid, and maybe they're like, all right, scrap it all, start over again. We can't have him attached to it.
Steph, what do you think? I mean, this is one of those things where, you know, you have this guy who's involved with it. He's talking a lot, and maybe they do have a lot of stuff they recorded already, but they want to rewrite some stuff to make it play into season 3. Is that maybe what they're doing?
Yeah, they're probably just changing the direction of the show because he was seemingly so involved in that. I mean, so much of the writing was his. So I think to make it easier for everyone, both business wise and professional wise, they probably should just have their own source material that lives outside of his work. But because of that, there's going to be a lot of delays and also a lot of up in the airs depending on the arcs that he might have had more to do with, and they might be changing those arcs. But I think it's at least the first season's out, the characters that they're working with are established, and I think that they just have to shift some things. But it is a bummer for the fans that they have to wait that long, especially because the show's only like, it's only so many episodes that are so long, so it's not like that's a long time to wait.
I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake for a lot of different reasons, but I think one of the main reasons is I think that it seems as if they are saying, it seems petty. It seems petty. It seems like they're almost doing it like, well, he's talking a lot, and we want to try to remove ourselves as much as we can from this. It's like, just put the season 2 out that you had. Let him tweet his face off about how it was his ideas and everything that he's working on, and just make a great show. Don't your first show, it worked. The first season worked. If you start messing with stuff just because, well, that guy was involved in it, we want to be able to say like, no, that's what we did. And it's like you've got the story. You've got things. It's like, it seems petty, but the counter to my own argument is that there is a lot of stuff that they have in 2025, and they can say, yeah, let's just take some time and make sure that we can work on both seasons 2 and 3 to make them just move in sync. So by the time that they both come out, it just seems flawless, and our team put it together. So I understand it. It just seems like, hey, your momentum right now is just, it's working. Why stray away from it? Maybe they have that much confidence in that Spider-Man thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It feels like when you're not super involved in the business or in the industry and you haven't worked on writing a show, I remember when I would watch shows and, you know, you would see the writer of an episode, but you wouldn't really understand the various positions nor the intricacies of how each person is involved in one thing. So I feel like they're almost blowing out of proportion the audience's knowledge of how much someone is involved in a project. And maybe they just, I guess when you said petty, it made me think like they just were like, this is our thing now and we don't want you. Because it seems like there's even more that we don't know just based off like how intense their separation is proving to be.
Yeah. I mean, it really, I mean, I think that's what it is. They want to make sure it's perfect because they know they're going to be under the microscope here when it comes to everybody going, okay, is it different? And it's not going to be different. That might different because he worked on a lot of the things. But if they sit back and they say, well, we worked on this while he was gone, we wanted to rewrite some stuff to show you really what we've got cooking, and this is our version of it, because he had kind of countered, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but I think it's probably something that we should, because I think Bo then commented on it. He did. Let me read this, because this is also something that ties into all of this. This is from what Bo DeMayo said about what was coming up. He said that that Marvel scrapped his plans for Onslaught and Age of Apocalypse Season 3. Former X-Men 97 showrunner Bo DeMayo has revealed that Marvel Studios pulled the plug on his ambitious plans for Onslaught and an Age of Apocalypse adaptation in the show's second and third seasons. Yesterday, we learned that X-Men 97 Season 2 unlikely to premiere on Disney until 2026. The reasons supposedly boils down to rewrites. A surprise following reports the second batch of episodes was pretty much finished. As you expect, former showrunner Bo DeMayo isn't happy. If you believe Marvel Studios was fired for sexual misconduct, his story is that it was retaliation for calling out their racist, unethical practices. Either way, he's hit back by revealing his scrap plans for season 2 and beyond. DeMayo started by confirming that the original plan was for Onslaught to appear in the season 2 finale. The way he puts it, Marvel Animation wasn't on board with this ambitious idea for one of the X-Men's most formidable, iconic foes. To which someone actually said, I hope season 2 is lit, because I don't know how I'm going to feel about season 2 if they deviate too much from how you framed it. To which Bo says, from what I'm hearing, the one director and exec who fought me and anyone else who loved the comics at every turn during season 1 has tossed most of what I had planned out. At one point, the exec was pushing Emma and Logan being a couple. So, Trey Pruden. So they changed Bo DeMayo's script. It's yada, yada. He says, yeah, pretty sad. Season 2 is also only 9 episodes because of this and them canning my Onslaught Apocalypse finale. But Marvel loves shooting themselves in the foot, especially with certain directors and execs pushing their backwards, we know better than the comics agenda. So there was a lot of, and then let's see, there's a reason I'm trying to speak out on this. This stuff that happens is insane, and some of the people's names have been ID'd on Reddit. So I'm sorry, guys, but when Marvel protects a director who openly discriminates against anyone who isn't like them, writes off Claremont as a white man whose stories we shouldn't be adapting and instead do our own version, what do you expect? It also sounds like DeMayo planned to take X-Men 97 during a darker route, which even before he dismissed Marvel was pulling away from. However, this means we'll no longer get a third season taking place entirely in the Age of Apocalypse. The third arc, in what the showrunner describes as a 5-year plan for the show. DeMayo also shared a few insights to which why this led to it. So there's a whole thread on comic book that you guys can read. But look, this is what we said before when it comes to this scenario with him, is that what really happened, the behind the scenes stuff, who knows if it'll come to light or not come to light. That's a separate issue. This comes with all the stuff he's been tweeting lately about the ideas that with Blade, the ideas he had with the Doctor Strange stuff, and this. Call me naive. I believe all of this stuff. I believe that these were the real ideas. I believe these were the things that would happen, and I definitely believe that there was an executive that was saying, no, let's stay away from the comics. Let's try to do this. Don't do this. Don't make it so dark. I can see that because it happens in video game adaptations all the time. It happens in these movies all the time. It happens all of the time. The reason X-Men 97 was so good is because there were so many familiar storylines from the actual comics. I feel like this is going to be a real blow to this show creatively, Steph. What do you think?
In terms of what he's saying about
if all of this is true, and the fact that because it looks like what he's saying. It looks like what he's saying is that the reason, what it seems like to him, is the reason why they're rewriting this stuff is because he had a lot of these ideas, the darker ways, the more things they were adapting towards the comics, and this one exec's kind of coming in, and he probably gave his notes to the new person, and now they're rewriting a whole bunch of this stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of a very tricky position because we weren't in the writer's room. I don't know exactly the extent to which he was involved, but if he is lying about the extent of his ideas and all of these things, that would be very strange. Yeah. Obviously, it's a possibility, but that would be very strange because then you have a whole room of people who can be like, that's not true, which we haven't heard those exact disclaims of that claim yet. So that puts them in a really peculiar position, especially moving forward to the next season, because a lot of the reasons that people are liking the show seems to be the reasons that they might be taking out of the show in the next seasons, which does make me a little bit fearful for the weary for what the reaction will be and what it will actually look like if he's been the champion of that darker undertone story that they've been going with that people have liked so much.
Yeah, Mike, when I was looking at this, he's been talking a lot, and it's just like, dude, just cut it out, just let it go and back off. But I will say this is a show that he worked on, and if they're rewriting it, the stuff that he worked on, even though he's not getting credit for it because he opened his mouth, and that's the game that you play, and I don't really have any sympathy for him on that because the deal was don't say anything, let's be quiet about it, and he did for a while, and then he decided to speak out. He broke the agreement, and such is life. However, if they're now saying, well, we're taking our time to rewrite this thing, it's like, I'll tell you why they're rewriting it. Because I had my thing and I had this one bonehead executive that kept saying, oh, we don't like the comics and this and that. I think he has a right to speak out about that stuff. And I tend to believe him, and I think it's going to damage it. I think the show will be, I think it'll be less, if they try to hop stuff up like that and do a little bit more cheerful, and it shouldn't be, then they should adapt the apocalypse thing. But what do you think about all of this?
Again, I don't. It's such a weird. Like every time he comes online, I'm like, man, just be quiet, dude. What do you?
Even with this circumstance?
Like I think with everything, like there's so much, like the whole thing with where he has the, as he said, the receipts, but he's hiding it behind his OnlyFans paywall. Like if you wanted to defend your, like here's the, but again, it could be going through court. So maybe they're like, you can't share anything. It's going to have its day in court.
He's not on OnlyFans with this. This is openly on Twitter. This stuff.
But all the stuff of
all the other
what
stuff
Disney had done, or I don't know, man. It seemed like there was that nice period where he wasn't saying anything for the first couple episodes, and then about halfway through season 1, and then he started going on Twitter, but just talking about the show, like, oh, this is why we did this, this is why we did that. I don't know, man. Like, animation's interesting because I like, if you look at like Batman the Animated Series, every episode was written by someone different. You had a showrunner, but like every episode was different, but you really couldn't tell. Yeah, some episodes were better than others, but it was still, it felt the show. It still felt in the same tone. So if they do that, like keep it in the same thing, but if it's a vastly different change, it's like a whiplash. Like what's going on here?
Yeah, I think
they're going to lose. It's amazing to me the amount of fans that are like reinstate him, get him back, this and that. I was like, they overlook everything because they love what they saw.
It's true. Well, we also don't know the full extent of what happened, but like the same way they had enough there for them to say we can't have this guy here, which is the right for the company. Any company that feels that way, they can do that. It's their right. But it is also the right if you get that information out there for the fans to go, look, it's unfortunate, and we understand that you had to get rid of the guy, but your show has been diminished. And what you shouldn't have done, you had the product, you bought it when you were hiring this guy, and you had the second season, and you fuddled with it because you thought that, oh, I'm an executive. I know how these things work. Let me stay away from the comics. People don't love the comics. I'll do it. I do it every episode. It's the same stuff happening over at Lucasfilm. It's the same stuff, and it's the same thing. And that's the type of executive nonsense that happens. So anyway, what do you guys think about all this? Put your comments in there. Tell us. We see you in the live chat. We see you in the super chats, and we'll see you after this airs. And you can also comment on Spotify, by the way. If you didn't know that, you can comment now on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. All of it. Okay, we have a lot more to talk about here today. So before we do, as I tell you guys each and every episode, I got to tell you about our wonderful friends over at both Hims and AG1. I'll tell you about them both right now. Let's talk AG1. I love AG1. I had it this morning. I love it. It helps you build a healthy morning routine. 60 seconds to get your daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, adaptogens, more. And I've been drinking it for, forever. You can't be part of this show if you haven't heard me talking about AG1. I'm going to give you a couple of fast facts about AG1 and how it supports your gut health. It contains prebiotics, probiotics, and gut-supporting ingredients to support your digestion, reduce bloating, and keep you regular. In a research study, 80% of participants noticed less gas and bloating after 30 days of drinking AG1. For me, I've had a lot of changes since I started to. I sleep better, better gut health, my focus, stress, all of it. It's just great. AG1's powder form makes it easy for your body to digest and access the nutrient-dense ingredients in the formula. They've been around with us for so long because so many of you guys have been doing it also. You've been getting AG1, you've been checking it out, you've been changing your routines, and it's worked. So if you want to start and notice the difference for yourself, it's a great first step to invest in your health, and that's why they've been a proud partner of mine for so long. Try AG1 and get a free bottle of Vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 Travel Packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/bigthing. $48 value for free if you go to drinkag1.com/bigthing. Go ahead, check it out. Hims! Guys, when we leave the house, whether you got your phone, wallet, keys, how's your hair look? But if you're experiencing hair loss, you may not be so confident when you step outside your door. Now, you got to get confident again, and you got to restore your hair, and you do it with Hims. Because nobody wants to lose your hair. And for men, it's common. And now with Hims, the solution is simple. You try Hims hair loss solutions and you'll be joining hundreds of thousands of subscribers who got their flow back. Hims provides access to a range of hair loss treatments that work all the way from the comfort of your couch. They offer personalized chewable, orable, spray, and serum treatment options so you can find what works best for you. The process is simple and 100% online. Just answer a few questions and a medical provider will determine if the treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to your door. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, so if you feel like you're losing a part of yourself with your hair loss, get Hims and get your confidence back. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/bigthing, HIMS.com/bigthing for your personalized hair loss treatment options. So that's hims.com/bigthing. Results vary based on studios of topical and oral mixodal. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. All right. Thank you to our friends over at both Hims and AG1. As I tell you guys all the time, and a lot of you had known, I just got somebody yesterday. I said, hey, man, listen, I just checked out Hims, and I hope that helps out the show. I said, yes, it does. It helps out the show tremendously. So thank you for that. The links are in the description, as always. What a disaster of a day I had yesterday, guys. Well, kind of. Listen to this, Steph. So,
oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Perfect.
Sorry.
So, it's all right.
I just need this.
This is a disaster of a thing. So yesterday, because I did the live show and then I had to get my other show up for the UAP Tuesday, right? Didn't have a chance to do it. If we filmed it, but I didn't have a chance to edit it in time because I had a train that was leaving here at 4:45 to get me into the city to see the screening of Saturday night to get there at 5:30 because the screening was at 6. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make it be a half an hour early. I know where I'm going. I'm going to the Regal in Times Square. I can get there and I can be there half an hour early. I was there 35 minutes early. I was like, yes. So I get there and I walk in. The woman goes, there is no screening here. I said, what? And I look at my phone. I go, wait, there is a screening here. It was not Times Square. It was Union Square on the other side of the city. So I'm like, okay, great. So now I got to try to get there in time. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell. I haven't done the train, and so I have my routes of the theaters that I go to right now, but this is a new one, and I didn't map it out. So I'm like, okay, here we go. So I get on the train, and I'm going downtown. But this was a cool part of the story. So first of all, I have a Lost shirt on. I was wearing a Lost shirt yesterday. However, I had something over it, but I still had it on. So I'm waiting for the subway to go downtown, and who is standing right next to me? But Michael Emerson, who I just interviewed from Lost, who, of course, was Ben, and I just interviewed him two or 3 weeks ago with Roxy, standing right next to me. And I said, Michael, Kristian, we just interviewed you. He's like, I love that conversation. It was a very adult conversation. I said, yes, it was. And we had a conversation. We talked on the train for a little bit. He was telling me he was on his way to go do some stuff. He's got a new gig and sweet dude. So I'm like, okay, great. That put me in a good mood. I'll get there right on time. So my friend had told me, get on there and take it to Union Square. So I'm on there and I'm waiting. They don't say Union Square. I was supposed to get off at 14th Street, but he didn't tell me that. He just said Union Square. So I'm waiting. And now, next thing you know, last stop, and I'm by the ferry. And I'm like, okay. So I've gotten off at the wrong train again. I'm like, there's no world. I'm like, I got one more shot to do this. I finally get to 14th. It's a 15-minute walk. I go, I'm done. I told my friend who was supposed to meet me, I said, I'm done. I walked into this place. I ordered chicken nachos. I had 2 beers. And then I just sat there, relaxed. I'm not getting on those damn trains again right away. Had myself some beers, got on the train, got back and edited the episode, and then went home. Didn't even get to see the movie.
You didn't see the movie?
No, missed the movie. Missed it. By the time I would have gotten there, I would have been an hour into the movie.
How were the chicken nachos?
Delicious. They were really good.
There were some wins.
There were a few wins. There were a few wins.
You weren't supposed to go.
You might be right. I
think you did what you needed to do.
And I was also upset because I said I could have gotten my episode out for the UAP Tuesday. I could have gotten it out early. Normally, that's when people are online and they would have checked out the episode. I'm probably losing, 30, 40, or maybe 20,000 views on it. I'm like, okay, as long as I get like 3,000 or 4,000 of people who got to see it, I'll be happy because I got the word out. It was an important topic. I woke up this morning, there was 30,000 views on it already. And I was like, whoa. So it didn't really matter. So in the long run of it, it didn't really matter except, you know, I missed the movie and I wanted to see the movie.
Yeah. I think some good things happened,
Yeah.
and you're gonna see the movie regardless.
I will,
Okay.
but I didn't get a
Luckily,
chance.
it's not one of those. Well, I want it to be a huge blockbuster
Right.
movie, but it's not seeming to be one of those where
No.
it would really help the channel to
Right.
get your review out fast.
Right.
So that's okay.
Right. And we
So
also
you'll
had
just see it.
we had the
hopefully.
Logan reaction that went up yesterday too, and I introduced Sam to the audience, and it did well. People are really enjoying her, so it was a good day overall. It was just a lot of traveling for nachos and 2 beers.
No, right. That's how me every day in Europe is. If I can accomplish 2 things while getting lost every way around the city, then that's okay.
Yeah.
That's my goal when I'm in Europe, because me with no service, oh man, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah,
At
I'm telling you,
least
it was. I just
so embarrassing.
I like to map it. The problem is this: I usually like to map things out to where I'm like, because I know where. If I know where I'm going, I'll give myself. If I don't know where I'm going, I'll give myself a little extra time. Like when I did the 3 theaters that I know really well. I know how to get there. I know how to do it because I mapped it out and I gave myself like an hour and a half. So this kind of thing, if it happened, I'd be fine. But I was so convinced that I knew where I was going yesterday that I was still on my path, and I was like, no. By the time the mess up happened, I didn't have enough time. So anyway, that's what happened to me. But another thing you're not going to see, because I didn't get to see the movie, you're not going to see Scorsese's Jesus film, and you're not going to see his Sinatra film anytime soon, because those things are on hold. What in the world? That's right. Martin Scorsese, both the Jesus and the Sinatra films are on hold. Joining Ray. Apparently, they said the Ray film isn't on hold. Someone tweeted me that, but I don't know. We'll talk about that next. Both of Oscar-winning filmmaker Martin Scorsese's upcoming biopics about 2 legendary guys, both Jesus and Frank Sinatra, have been put on hold indefinitely. Variety broke the news, indicating the plan had been to shoot the 2 highly anticipated films back-to-back this year. The first of these was to be the biblical epic The Life of Jesus, based on Shisaku Endo's 1973 novel. Scorsese is reportedly financing that film independently and is committed to making it with the hopes of shooting in Israel, Italy, and Egypt as he explores Christ's complex human and divine aspects. No official cast has been announced for either project, despite reports of Andrew Garfield being rumored for the Jesus role, and both are still in the development stage. At one point, the Sinatra film had a November start date, but last month, those involved in the production were apparently notified that the November start date had been canceled. No rescheduled date has been set. Apple and Sony have been rumored to be circling the project, but no studio has been signed, and there are serious questions as to whether Sinatra's estate will give approval of the project. Scorsese is still set to produce Cape Fear TV series for Apple TV alongside Steven Spielberg. I think that some of this has to do with Megalopolis. I think that the old kings are still respected, but they don't deliver in the same way that they do because the peasants have changed, if you will, and they feed differently. You know, it's like it's different. And I think Scorsese and whoever else was looking out and going, look, back in the day, if Scorsese comes, we want to do this, this, and this, you do it, you pick it up. But now, and he probably thought the same thing. I'll put my own money into it. Someone will pick it up. It'll be fine. But there's a big risk involved in that too. If you're Scorsese and you spend this money to do this Jesus movie, and then Apple goes, yeah, you know what? We're not going to do that this time around. Then who do you got? You have your hand out and you're Scorsese. You're like, Francis Ford Coppola couldn't do it because that movie's not going to do well. I hate to say it. It's just not going to do it. There's no buzz on it. People aren't excited to see it. It's just not going to do well. And that's like his own money for the most part. And then the Sinatra one makes sense they said it in that report. You don't get the estate on board. It's going to be tougher to do. But I don't know. Steph, you hear this. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that it's to take on 2 films like that is, you would think like, oh, like what director can pick 2 random, it's not random stories, but 2 stories that are important to him and make a movie. You'd be like, okay, Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola could do that, but they just can't anymore because the situation has changed. I think if you did like Scorsese picked one of the movies right now, he probably would be in a different position, but working on 2 that are going to be massive films, it doesn't seem like we're in the space right now to be doing things with the studios just aren't signing up the ways they used to for those types of movies.
Yeah. And I saw somebody saying that, well, Apple didn't want to get involved because Killers of the Flower of the Moon bombed. Did it on Apple? And if you're talking about box office, yes, but that's not what Apple knows that. I mean, the same thing with Air. They knew Air wasn't going to make money either. They took a shot to get some cash back. That's not why Apple makes the movies. In the same way, Wolf's isn't going to do very well in the theater, and that movie costs a lot of money to make. The question is how many more people are going to sign up to Apple and watch Apple and, get more and more notoriety to that. Did Killers of the Flower Moon do bad on Apple? Is that what you're saying? Because if that's the case also, then I would agree with you. Because if they're like, well, we knew it wasn't going to do well in the theater, but then nobody watched it on the damn service either, then that adds merit to that. But I don't know. Just to see like these things, Mike, this is Martin Scorsese we're talking about. Now, 2 films that he's having are not going to happen. What do you make of it?
It's interesting what you said about the changing of the guard. Like, I guarantee if Scorsese said, you know what,
Don't worry about it. It's all right.
I have to apologize. It's not a lawnmower. It's a pressure washer today.
Perfect.
That we've got going on there for no reason.
Great.
And this guy decides that he's got to let them know how
bring as much attention to it as you can. Go ahead.
Yeah. That I feel that
If it makes you feel better, my dog's being annoying today too.
if Scorsese went and said, you know what, I want to direct one of them superhero films, they would be backing up the dump trucks full of money for him to do a superhero film. So it just sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
Changing the guard. If they said,
that's a good point.
Coppola was like, I want to do Star Wars.
Right.
Their name holds the cachet, but they're not letting them do the films they wanted.
Well, but it's also, what's ironic about it too is that they, as much as they are wanting to stay in the old way, and they're still the ones. If you look at these guys, they're spending tons of money on their movies. It's like, hey, remember when you used to make movies for I know it's a different business, but $5-10 million? Like, come on, Marty, let's do a movie. Let's do a Sinatra movie for like 40 mil. I dare you. Instead, he's going to do, Killers of the Flower Moon was almost like $200 million or something.
Right.
And so,
I go back and forth because I'm like, okay, how many more, hopefully we get a ton of movies left in him. He seems like he has so much life in him. Him and his daughter on TikTok are like my favorite thing. But realistically, like how many more movies, and like if you have his career, like I want to go out with a bang on a couple more but when you look at even for the Jesus movie where he wants to film, it doesn't make sense at all just in this political climate.
No.
So there's things that I'm like, you would either have to change, or if that doesn't make your movie hit the way you thought it would because you can't film on the actual location, you have to scrap that. You can't film there. And
you also know, look, if it's about money making, it's not a bad gamble when, depending if you're gonna get it out around Easter when you put it out.
No,
it's not a bad gamble.
The Christians and the Catholics show up.
Yeah, look at the Passion of the Christ. They're doing a sequel to that. So I understand the strategy, but there's 2 movies now, so I don't know. I asked the audience now what you make of this. What do you think with Scorsese kind of pushing things back? Are we going to see either one of these movies? Is he going to do something completely different? Is he just going to focus on the Cape Fear series? What say you? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Another one that we're pretty excited about is the Joker. Well, there's something with the Joker here, Joker 2. Todd Phillips, the director and co-writer of the upcoming Joker Folie à Deux, says the audience are going to have to sit with his film's ending for a while. The sequel to the 2019 acclaimed smash hit from Phillips sees Joaquin Phoenix reprise his role as Arthur Fleck. This time he's joined by Lady Gaga as Harley Lee Quinn. Participating in a recent pre-screening question and answering session ahead of the film, Phillips tells Slash Film that plenty of people he showed the film to needed a few minutes to process what they just saw. He said, for the people that have seen this movie in general, at the end, they sit and they don't move for about 3 to 5 minutes. Then they text me. The ones that know me or email me and go, I need a minute to process the movie. I think it's going to leave you with a very unsettling. He clarifies a lot of things that you might, it clarifies a lot of things that you might have a question about in the first movie. I hope it all gets answered. That clarification may relate to Phoenix's character Arthur and his grip on reality that seems decidedly shaky. The first film already demonstrated that he's a completely unreliable narrator, and as seen in the imagined romance with his neighbor, played by Zazie Beetz. That makes some of his acts in the film especially in the last half hour, all potentially part of another delusion. Phillips says that the murder of Robert De Niro's talk show host Murray Franklin and those kids on the subway are two events that are definitely real. He adds the new film will clear some of those lingering questions. He had a lot of fantasies in the first movie. This movie really finds Arthur in answers for everything as far as that movie really happened. All that stuff really happened. Reviews so far for the film has been mixed, and a few do promise that the ending is shocking and a fitting finale. The comments come as Gaga has announced the release of her next album, a comparison album called Harlequin. The movie comes out on October 4th. So is this hype? Do you think that it's true? Does it necessarily mean that it's going to deliver? Mike, you hear these comments from Todd Phillips, and I forget, Mike, are you pretty excited for this one?
I am. I'm thinking this is exactly what happened with the first one. People are
Right.
like, oh, there's not positive buzz. The people are seeing it or getting mixed reviews. It's like that first film did not get the earliest reactions like, oh, it's incredible. It was like, this is something to process, and we don't know how you're going to feel about this. And like, I don't watch that movie and go, what a great time at the movies. That was awesome. Let me get another bucket of popcorn.
Right.
That's like I've seen it once. I saw it twice in the theaters. And I think I've only watched it once since. Like I can't. It's awesome. I love it, but it's not.
It's not a feel-good film.
Visit.
Yeah, it's not a feel-good film.
And I think this film is on track to do exactly what that first one did.
Steph?
Yeah, I completely agree. I watched the movie and it was the most uncomfortable I've ever felt in a movie ever, because it was so high tension, and then on top of that there was just random hysteria warnings around theaters with the movie specifically. And so I was just like, oh my God, this is so crazy. But you can't deny that it is an exceptional film. And I thought it was so fascinating and interesting. So when he describes this, I'm like, this is exactly how I felt from the first movie, which is like, I need time to process it. But I will say it's a clearly good movie. But then when you process it, you're like, boy, did that make me uncomfortable. And I think that Lady Gaga doing a pairing album with this is so smart.
Super smart. I mean, how do you not? Anytime she does, if you cast Lady Gaga in your movie, part of her deal should be you better write an album for our movie.
Right. She can actually sing.
Yeah.
So that's not just like an actress who can kind of sing. She's a singer first.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very excited to see this movie. I'm going to see it. I think I see it on Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember. But I'm going to be seeing and doing out of the theater reaction for it. It is one of my most anticipated of the year. I am not listening to the reviews because I want to make up my mind for myself, because I felt exactly what Mike just said. I heard so many mixed things about it and how people thought I wasn't going to play, and it wound up being my favorite movie that year. So I'm pretty pumped for it. We'll see how it plays. So put your comments in there. Tell us exactly what you think. Good start for you guys so far, man. Roca, his 74 is definitely challenged, as you guys are sitting with 40 right now before we've even gotten to the questions thus far. We have a few more stories to talk about, but Mike and Steph, power team here, coming in at 40 questions.
Go.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, here's the next one. This is something that came out the other day, but Gladiator 2, it's another movie. You talk about anticipated movies. This is another one of my anticipated, and it's Gladiator 2. Paramount Pictures has released the second trailer and new posters for Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2. The $300 million, wow, budgeted feature that's a crazy budget, has been test screening to good results, with Ridley Scott himself dubbing it the best thing I've ever made. Well, one of the best things. Paul Mescal stars as the adult version of Lucius, the grandson of Rome's former emperor Marcus Aurelius, nephew of Commodus, and son of Lucilla. Lucius recently resides peacefully with his family in Numida until Roman soldiers led by General Marcus Acadius invade and force him into slavery. Inspired by the legendary Maximus, Lucius decides to fight as a gladiator and oppose the rule of the young emperor Caracalla, played by Joseph Quinn, and Geta. So Denzel Washington also stars as a grudge-holding former gladiator who pulls the strings behind the scenes for his own purposes. Also starring in the $300 million budget are Jaimin Hansu, Matt Lucas, Lara Raz, Peter Mensah, May Calamoy, Tim McEmery, and Derek Jacobi. David Scarpa penned Gladiator 2, which is set to open in cinemas internationally from November 15th and in U.S. cinemas on November 22nd. Okay, Steph, did you like the first one, the first trailer, rather, and did you like this trailer?
Okay, Denzel stole the show first trailer. I was like, all right, I'm in for this. What I did not like was
The music. Yeah, same.
And this trailer did not have that. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
They took the note. They took the note.
They took the note, and I appreciate people who take the note. And I think that answered our question that maybe that was just trailer music and not actually this score. So, because one of the things about Gladiator is the score is so incredible. Like, I just want it running through my veins at all times. So it would be, I love rap and hip hop, but I wouldn't want that in a Gladiator film unless, prove me wrong, but it just didn't feel at first like it was going to work. So the second trailer, I really liked that. I almost wanted to stop watching because I thought it was giving me a lot of the plot, which I don't love in trailers, but I am very much excited about the movie in general.
Mike, do you care about this?
I love the first one.
Okay.
I don't know why we need a second one. I don't know, man. Like also, it's what, 25 years since the first?
Something like that.
Are people gonna want to see this? Like how's it tracking? Like how it that's a Covenant and Prometheus didn't do well. That was him going back to what he originally had done. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
you got the story again of a slave fighting for his freedom.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on how they're gonna make this work, right? And it's like if Ridley Scott has been a little bit more missed than hit over the last 10, 12 years. But it's like a really good, but he's a really good conductor. He's going to put out a good piece of music. Eventually, you hope, right?
Was he Napoleon?
Yeah. That wasn't great.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't great.
Oh my god.
Hans Zimmer coming back for the score?
I feel like someone told me no, but I don't. But don't quote me on that. Someone will tell me in the comment section. But I feel like someone said no.
That would be just such a win for us all if he came back. But I do think that November, December is obviously such an ideal time for family movies. Just when I think about my family, we always see a movie during Thanksgiving weekend, and we always see a movie during Christmas weekend. So this will probably be our Thanksgiving weekend movie. And that my parents and most of our parents loved Gladiator. That was one of the defining action movies. Yeah, so and we watched it with them. So I think that we're definitely going to watch it, and we can't be the only one. So it might do well in numbers because of the timing and because of the source material.
Getting kind of conflicting reports here. Someone says Harry Gregson Williams is doing it. Somebody will say Hans Zimmer and Junkie LX, but I think that's not true. So I don't know. Silly comment. Why do white people get mad when rap isn't a trailer? I don't get it. That's no offense. That's a stupid comment. No one's offended because we're white. There's rap in it.
Wait, what?
And by the way, Steph isn't white.
Right.
So there you go. But the problem is that there's sometimes that it works brilliantly when you put it in a trailer. Brilliantly. When you put it in, when you certain trailers brilliantly, when it's a period piece taking place in Greco-Roman, it doesn't work.
Right.
It doesn't work.
We're talking about the Rome and the Gladiators. We're not talking about a sports movie set in 2024.
Right. But
even much of the trailer. But if you're doing like a Knight's Tale and that's kind of the vibe of the film,
yes, exactly, 100%,
Gladiator,
100%. 100%. That's a silly comment.
Lord of the Rings, do you want a drop beat? Like
sometimes they do though. Not for that trailer, Lord of the Rings, but sometimes they do that. They'll put in. Now, there's not going to be that music. There's not going to be hip hop or those songs that were in that trailer won't be in the movie itself. But they're using it to try to get what they tried to do is they're trying to get different audience and different people and everyone into the theater for that trailer. That's what they're trying to do. It just you delude what the movie. It's not true what the movie is. It's just not what it is.
Right.
So that's exactly why. So they've done that before. Tons of different. There's been times that they've put music in there that's rock music that you're like, what? That song doesn't work. What's that song doing in there? Get that out of there. It has nothing to do with, you know, who does it all the time is Baz Luhrmann puts stuff in his movies and his music all the damn time, all his trailers, all the damn time. So that's, look, that comment is the most irrelevant comment so far that we've had in no offense.
Irrelevant.
It's an irrelevant comment. Let's get to the next story here, which is, of course, look, Mike, I got to bring this up for you because I know how excited you are. Lanterns. Now, I have not got your thought before we get into this story. What were your thoughts on the Kyle Chandler of it all?
I love Kyle Chandler as an actor.
Yeah.
I think he fits the role. The only thing is I've never seen him that I can think of in a very physical role. Like the Godzilla movies, he's still kind of like the scientist dad staring at computer screens. But if he's going to sit there and you know, go full out with the training and the stunt work and everything, that quality, that kind of wholesome, like goodness about him, that in a mentor role. I mean, just look at the Friday Night Lights and the role of like that mentor figure. He's such a good actor. I just, you know, I've never seen him in a role like that. So, but I love him as an actor, so I'm on board.
Steph, did you hear this news, and do you think that he's good cast for it?
Yeah, I saw everyone it's so funny watching people in the comments be like, I can't believe that we're like hiring all these older actors. It's actually quite funny to watch the sexism be universal, because it used to be about older women being cast, but now it's everyone can catch the ageism, which is hysterical when they don't even know the context of the story. And then of course people were like, do you know that this story is supposed to be Hal handing it off? But he doesn't need to be 24 years old ready to run an entire franchise. So people just opened their mouths way before. But I like him as an actor.
Yeah, I think he's a perfect cast for it, and I don't think he's one of those names that's not usually thrown around, and I think he'll be perfect as a kind of a chiseled Hal Jordan. But the question then goes, who will play Jon Stewart? Well, there's a rumor. This is the rumor right now, and I don't know if you've heard this rumor, Mike, but Damson Idris is rumored to be in contention to play Jon Stewart. We recently learned that Kyle Chandler has been cast as Hal Jordan in the DCU Lantern series, and a new rumor is claiming that Damson Idris is in contention to play Jon Stewart. Earlier this week, the somewhat surprising news that Kyle Chandler is in talks to play veteran Hal Jordan in the upcoming HBO Lantern series broke, and we may now know one of the actors in contention to join him as the younger, inexperienced hero he takes under his wing. According to MTTSH, Damson Idris is one of the actors being looked at for the role of Jon Stewart. Idris is an up-and-coming British actor, best known for the lead in John Singleton's crime drama Snowfall, which debuted on FX in 2017 and ended in 2023 after 6 seasons. He also played the co-lead in Netflix's 2021 science fiction action film, Outside the Wire. It's not the first time we've heard his name brought up in connection with the character, as comic book writer Tom King, who's working on the show, recently started following him and Aaron Pierre on social media, leading to speculation they might be in the mix. That was Mike's pick, I think. Lanterns follows new recruit Jon Stewart and Lantern legend Hal Jordan, two intergalactic cops drawn into a dark, Earth-based mystery as they investigate a murder in the American heartland. Emmy Award-winning Lost and Watchmen creator Lindelof is working on the pilot script along with Ozark showrunner Chris Mundy and King. Production is currently set to commence in Q1 of 2025 in the UK, potentially putting on the show for a 2026 release. Let's see, anything else too? No. Okay, so you hear this, Mike? Jon Stewart, I know that you were pushing for the actor in Rebel Ridge.
Yeah.
Now, the question, though, is that this isn't a confirmation. This could just be one of those, hey, they're both up for it, and maybe one of the two gets it. But what do you think about both of the potential casts and going with kind of unknowns?
Yeah, I love that. I don't know the actor, so I can't really speak to him, but I love going with an unknown. Absolutely. Make this a star turn for him. So, yeah. Easy, nothing else to say.
Steph? I mean, you're killing it today, Mike. Steph?
Yeah, I love when they go with unknown actors, especially I think it's a toss-up when you have a property like Green Lantern, because people like me who love comic books and comic book movies, I'm not as familiar with this
Right.
character, and so part of it, you might have this pull to bring in an A-list actor to attach it to the name, but I think there's something really cool about one that's not Superman or Batman, and then you bring in actors who are less known, and then you can kind of have more room to form what the public eye now thinks of this character and the story.
Yeah. All right, guys, what do you think about how Lanterns is shaping up? They're really putting a lot of effort into it for sure, and I think that based off of the success now that they've had on the Penguin, that they're really putting a lot of effort into it, and they want to make this show solid. Look at the team that they have involved. So curious to who you think should be in there. Put your comments in there. Tell us what you think. All right, we are going to get to your questions, and we've got a ton of them right now, so we're going to get to all of them. But before we do, I have to tell you guys about our friends over at PrizePicks. Now, if you didn't know, PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. It's got over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. So you want to play PrizePicks along with any of your favorite players, you can do it. It's the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy so that your lineups stay in place even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, PrizePicks, your picks are still alive. That's right. They invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of those picks doesn't hit. So for me, it's very simple. I like that it's easy. I like that I can just go in there. I can do what I need to do, and it's just I don't have to be. I don't overcomplicate things. That's what I really dig about it. It's very just. It's the easiest one that I've done so far. So download the PrizePicks app today and use that code Big Thing, and you get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's right. That's code Big Thing on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. That's right. Okay, so the other one that I wanted to tell you guys about is I have to tell you about our good friends over at The Perfect Gene. That's right, The Perfect Gene. If you weren't listening, you should listen now. I've been telling you about how relaxed the jeans are. They're stretchy. They fit perfectly. I love them. They're really wonderful. And too many jeans out there are hugging people's nuts. That's right. The Perfect Gene doesn't do that. You say goodbye to stiff cardboard denim and hello to comfort. They fit like they're custom made. They stretch like you wouldn't believe, and they look fantastic. They look fantastic. The fabric is as soft as a baby's bottom. And there's no babies involved, I promise. They're durable enough to survive her pulling them down daily. That's right. You like that? Me too. Thank you. For a limited time, our listeners will get 15% off their first order plus free shipping at theperfectgene.nyc, or just Google The Perfect Gene and use that code Big Thing, get 15% off. It's super stretchy. I love it. And they don't just do the jeans. They do T-shirts too. That's right. Perfect Tee has enough stretch to hide the beer belly while accentuating your arms and your chest for that flawless look. It's soft as butter without shrinking in the wash like all your other tees. Steph, you got to get Harry some of these. They're so good.
Yeah, I will. You know I love exploiting him.
I know you do. It's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectgene.nyc. Again, our listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, free exchanges. You got to use that code Big Thing at checkout. 15% off new customers, perfectgene.nyc. Use that code Big Thing. But do me a favor. After you purchase, they're going to ask where you heard about them. Support our show and tell them that we sent you. F your khakis and get the Perfect Gene. That's right.
Can I say something?
Of course you can.
Okay, as a lover of men, I will say that I don't want to put you in a box. If you want to wear patterns and colors, I love that for you. I've just noticed most men don't like that. So you can actually use this as your benefit, because if you just are a simple guy and you just don't really care about clothes, all you have to care about is the fit. That's it, the fit of the clothing. You can wear the same thing every day. We don't care, we don't really notice. But if it fits right, I'm telling you, you'll be slaying the streets.
And there's a reason why it's called the Perfect Gene. Thank you, Steph, for that. Okay, so you can get the links in the description. And I think Steph, you probably, I've told them about Perfect Gene for the last like 6 months. That one little thing, I'm probably going to see the most people purchase Perfect Gene just because of what you just said.
It's so nice. Just
one
start
pair.
with one.
Yeah, and one of those shirts. Okay, look. So let's start with these questions because we got right now, guys, 46. You're only 30 away from tying Roka. Roman Fedorak. Hey all. I told Kristian and Roxy this yesterday, but I wanted to tell Steph and Mike how much I appreciate you guys and this show right now. Thank you so much, Roman. It was very kind. Roman's been every day. He's been in here. He's in his graduate program right now, so he's been writing to us and listening to the show, and that's why he's very, very nice dude. He's been here every day. So what are your favorite movies of 2024 so far? I'm with Kristian on Dune 2. So Dune 2 is my favorite. Transformers 1 is going to be in my conversation in the top 5 right now. You guys have any that really stood out to you this year?
Well, Dune, yeah, and then how am I forgetting it?
Let me pull up
Furiosa.
Furiosa is a good one too.
A-list thing here with all my ticket things.
All right, you think about that, Mike.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
So then Roman Fedoruk follows it up and says, "The Top Gun guy that lives in my head rent free, and so does Roxy's clip from yesterday. So good, really good."
Wait, that just randomly made me think. Did either of you guys watch The Instigators yet?
Which one's that? Is that the Matt Damon one?
Yeah.
I heard it stinks.
I know. I just feel like I told you're so much more on your East Coast era that I feel like you would have just watched that.
Oh, yeah. Well, Sadie started watching without me, and then I asked her how it was, and she said it wasn't good, so I didn't go.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why. Pete Parker, 2288.
Oh,
I have to disagree that Agatha is only made for a certain group. I'm a guy in my 30s and really enjoying it so far. Has a cool hocus pocus vibe. No. That's not what I said. That's what people don't. You just got to listen to the words sometimes. I promise you. This is what I'm saying.
He took off his glasses for this.
Never. What I said. Not once did I say because it is aimed at a certain group that you can't enjoy it. I've never said that. But this is clearly aimed at a certain group. This audience, like my wife is. We just watched episode 3 today. It's like Desperate Housewives meets Practical Magic, right? There's tons of episodes. I didn't watch Desperate Housewives. I think I've seen a couple episodes, but there's a few episodes I've seen. That's a good show. I enjoyed it, but I didn't watch it all the time. It wasn't intended for me. Doesn't mean that a show that's not intended or that is going after a certain group you can't enjoy. But you can't say that it's targeted after, like, it's not targeted for everybody. It's not. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. Just means who they're trying to go after. And the goal is always, look, this is who we are really making this show for, but we think that it's good enough that everyone's going to enjoy it. So, but this show, did you watch the show yet, Steph?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked. You guys.
It's intended for you, right?
I love this
right, of course, that's my point.
I love this show. No, and I was there when Kristian said this, and I know exactly what he said, and it's what he just surmised for you guys, which is that he said it's obviously, it's for, they had a certain group of people in mind, but it is like every other show where you have a certain people, but you hope that it's good enough and it's relatable enough that everyone likes it. Harry loves it, who is not in my category at all.
Right. And they weren't making this show for Harry.
Love it.
They weren't making it for Harry
at all, but they did make it for me.
You're right.
And I mean, so far, it's my favorite 2-episode premiere of any of the Marvel show.
Wow.
And Mike, did you what do you think of this?
I'm not even going to check it out, I think.
Fair.
I got so wait.
That's
Here's
fair.
the thing. Let me talk. Like I have so much television that I'm backed up on that I haven't watched, but it's like, and I love Catherine Hahn. My girlfriend was kind of like, wait a minute, you're not watching this because she's a hall pass for me, Catherine Hahn.
Yeah, she's sexy. Super sexy. Super sexy.
Super sexy.
Good choice.
Oh, she's just, but I'm not, there's just nothing in it that I'm there for. Like, for me, we talk about shows being made. Penguin, made for me.
Right.
Mike, I didn't think you guys know. We all talked about it, and I was like, I'm a little bit apprehensive about this show.
Right.
I'm not sure I'm seeing the worth of making 8 episodes that are very long. Completely changed my mind by the second episode. The second episode is stronger.
Okay.
And if you love Catherine Hahn, I mean,
do.
this is
Oh, she's great in it. You go for it. Yeah.
exhibit for her.
Yeah. She delivers.
To me, I was like, you are one of the best comedic actresses I've ever seen.
Well, look, if you watch this with Shannon, you guys had something to watch, like Halloween stuff. This is kind of my point that I made with my wife too. It's like if she was watching this show and I sat down with her and I started watching, I'm like, oh, that was a fun show. If I wasn't covering it and you're not covering it, you wouldn't go out of your way to watch it. But if Shannon was like, hey, just watch an episode, you'd be like, oh, okay, that was fun. It's like it knows what it wants to be. And it's a fun show, and Steph's 100% right. Catherine Hahn is doing the best Catherine Hahn stuff that she's done in a while, and I think she's pretty damn good at it. But Danny Phillips, Steph, Jon Stewart is in talks to play Ewok. Thoughts?
Love it. Love it.
Real good.
Love it.
Ewok actually follows up now. It says, looking ahead to future Lanterns casting. Who, Mike, do you want as Sinestro? I wouldn't mind Jude Law, Guy Pearce, or Jason Isaacs. I think Jude Law is kind of overdone at this point with Marvel and Star Wars and everything else too.
I love that guy's picks just because they're outside of the box.
Yeah.
Everyone that wants, Sinestro, there's like, what bald actor is out there? Or hair, they go off of the look so much. Like Sinestro, I don't know, man. Like, it's tough. I really don't know because, and again, this is my own fault. There's so much television out there where all these great actors are coming from that I just don't have the time to watch. That like someone like a Roxy or something that's like livelihood is TV that they would know much better. Like for me, I don't care. Like just make yourself the character.
Yeah.
Like, I look back in the days like when I heard Hugh Jackman was cast is Wolverine. I had no idea who he was.
Right.
But you watch that movie for the first time and you're
perfect.
Like,
yeah, as long as they do it. As long as they do it.
I want these characters to be lesser known actors.
Yeah.
I really want that and become the character the first time we meet you as an actor. So
I will say though,
I know you guys he's well known, but the guy playing Johnny Storm, like I don't know his work, but I know he's out there and people that watch TV love him. But I'm like, so for me, my first interaction with this guy is going to be him as Johnny Storm.
That's pretty great. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, next question here, and this is from Armada. Can we get Gary Busey asking Mike about his mad Twitter rants? I do not believe that you understand the capacity of what I was doing. Mike did not tweet out at anyone. I got a hold of Michael Kalinowski's phone and tweeted out everything. Sometimes I just wake up in the morning after eating some pancakes and bacon and cheese with a little bit of mold on it, and I say, rah, 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 rah on Twitter, and I sign it as Mike Kalinowski, rah, 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 and I call people names, and I say, okay, fuck stick, and move on to my next one. Rah, rah.
Rah, rah.
Rah, rah, rah.
Well, Gary was the one that gave me fuck stick and fucktard.
Yeah, you are. Next time you tweet something, will you do me a favor? Instead of when you're responding to someone, just write rah 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 because it's the same. It's the same thing. All right,
that's good, man. That's good.
Derek Johnson. I'm going to say this with no signs taken it, but Bo DeMayo knew his shit about comics, and he made the greatest X-Men release of my lifetime. And just like Feige, he planned it out. This news feels bad and without direction. I think that when he's not wrong. I don't think he's wrong at all. I think that I don't think that this was a smart move on them if it is just a spiteful thing of like, hey, we don't want to be involved. Because let's say that is this one executive who's going, I hated this guy when he was on the show. I'm glad that he got himself in trouble. And guess what? Now I'm going to gut this whole thing. It's spiteful. And I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just, you could see that type of thing happen. But if that did happen, spiteful and stupid and not a good creative thing, I saw type of stuff like that happen all the time at Warner Brothers. Stupid. And I agree with Derek that it was a really great show, and I think it's gonna you're gonna see it. I think it's gonna hurt when season 2 comes out. I do. Armada says Bo DeMayo, more like hold DeMayo. All right.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Next one. I think Armada follows it up and says Ben Foster as who? Ben Foster as who? Let me see. Ben Foster as Sinestro in Lanterns would be fire. I like Ben Foster a lot. So, Derek Johnson. I follow Mike on Twitter, and if we can get Twitter Mike to make appearance on these shows, it would be awesome. That is false.
Yes.
He's
that's such a good
basically
character.
he's
That's
basically Twitter Mike Tyson. He takes no prisoners, no bullshit, and it's awesome. Follow him on Twitter.
Hysterical.
Not gonna happen on this show. I'll tell you that much.
Harloff gives me the hey, not on this show.
Not on this show.
You could do it on your thing, but not on this show.
Because one of the things though is the other thing too is like there's some things that Mike and I see eye to eye with, and a lot of things we see eye to eye. There's tons of things that Mike they don't see eye to eye with, and I don't want to get into that kind of stuff on this show. Okay. So Derek also says, I feel like Lucasfilm and DC are both in the same boat. I agree with Kristian. Scrap the whole team. Start over on Star Wars. But DC, do we have the right team? Do things seem cohesive and thought out? I think that they do. And I think that this is the difference. If you want to compare Derek to Lucasfilm and DC at the moment, look at Lanterns, right? They're putting together a solid team. And they're putting together, it looks like, the right actors and everything, what they're trying to do to eventually put forward a Lanterns team that's going to have a significant impact in the DC universe. They're going to also debut Nathan Fillion in Superman to introduce the core just a little bit there. They're then going to introduce Supergirl to when they give her own movie. There is a clear-cut plan thus far, as we're just complete chaos and nobody knows what the hell, spaghetti against the wall with a broken plate over at Lucasfilm. And this is, there's a plan. Mike, as the DC guy, you got to feel you got to be pretty optimistic right now, yeah?
No, it's interesting because for a while there, like, and I had said I'm a big Snyder fan, man. I really am. But it's like they've got to start over and just clean slate it. But then they kept the Batman going. And for a while there, and I'll admit this, I was like, Batman 2 ain't happening. It's not happening. There's just too much that's getting pushed back. But now, seeing the Penguin, seeing how much care went into that, now Reeves is saying that the second script is done. We're just making sure it all lines up to keep delivering what we want to deliver. And the Gunn is allowing them to do that and just go, hey, that's your little separate universe over there. Keep going. We're doing this over here. I'm feeling really good about it. It's nice to see there's a plan, whether you agree with it or not. Like Stephanie, we were talking a little earlier. Like, I hate when I see, it's like, oh, well, they got all these grandpas in these roles. It's like, but if it fits the character, and when you hear someone's age, it's a number. If he doesn't look Tom Cruise, you look at Tom Cruise, he doesn't look like a 60-year-old man.
No, for real.
So I think it's in a really good spot.
Yeah, me too.
It's got me excited. It's got me very excited for the future.
Derek Johnson asked, "What was for lunch?" I haven't had lunch yet. I'm gonna go and get one of those big sandwiches because Sam's coming over again to do. She's gonna do. We're gonna watch Deadpool. She just did Logan. We're gonna do Deadpool tonight. So I'm going to have a sandwich before she gets here. And then favorite alcohol drink, he says. These days, it's just a glass of wine.
Yeah, I don't really drink, but if I do, it'll be like a nice glass of scotch with my dad.
Okay, yeah, I'm already.
You know what I got into?
What?
At Comic-Con this year, and it's been my drink of choice, is a Tito's and soda.
Oh, okay.
It's light, it's refreshing, and I don't feel hungover the next day.
Well, there you go.
Oh.
I kick back a few of those bad boys.
Derek also says, do you or do you not take your partner dancing? If so, why not? And what are you waiting for? Well, we used to. We actually just talked about, well, why not? Is because 2 kids later. But we talk. Well, my wife and I were talking about this the other day. Yeah, my wife's a very good dancer, so we'd like to. We do when we go. That's what we go to weddings for. And but that's it. So, do you guys, Steph? Do you still do the dancing now, or not as much?
No, Harry doesn't dance.
Okay.
I dance at home. I do like morning performances, nighttime performances. Yeah, the house is entertained.
That's good.
He needs
watches
to work on it.
Okay.
He needs to do more entertaining.
Okay. Do you?
I don't take her out dancing. I randomly break into dancing.
Oh,
exactly.
Look at me. You think I can dance?
Yeah.
Come on. Now.
Yeah. Come on. Don't.
But I'm like at weddings. I tear it up at weddings. Don't play
with.
Oh, here's a little anecdote. So I think I told you, Steph, hey, you don't know what you're getting into inviting me to this wedding of yours. I'm going to tear it up.
Yeah.
I'm the guy usually that has to get people going at weddings. We're at your wedding. The music starts. The floor is flooded.
Flooded already, yeah.
Your people, your grandparents.
It's Middle East.
That's right.
I'm like, I am going to embarrass myself. I can't do this. They've upped the game and they don't need me there.
Oh, I didn't know they were gonna go straight into Arabian Nights within seconds.
It was like a Bollywood number.
Yeah,
that was
it was
pretty
like
great.
2 families
straight up. Yeah.
Figuring on Derek is crushing here. Derek wants to see you guys beat Roka today. Will Sony ever give up the rights to Spider-Man? This new deal with Sony feels like a hostage negotiation. What do y'all think? No, they're never. They're never going to, because that's why they're making this deal with Marvel, because as long as they're making money with it, and as long as they are putting movies out in the theater, that's always the deal. The movie has to come out within a certain amount of years, and as long as it does, and they're partnered with Marvel, they'll make money on it. They sustain the rights, but Marvel also gets their due, because they can put them in their movies. So no, they're not gonna get them away anytime soon, like the way that the way Fox lost X-Men and everybody else. Okay, so again, Derek really crushing it. We're 48, guys. 48.
Nice.
Derek is coming in hot today. Did you all check out the Rico Suave episode of The Hot Mic with Jeff Snyder and Rocco? If you have not seen it, with Jeff's white shirt half unbuttoned, it's wild, and it was a great show. I actually noticed let me see if I can find Rocco the thing that I sent to him, because have you seen this episode, guys, that he's talking about?
I have not.
So I don't know how I came across it, but I was like, oh, that's a very interesting outfit, to say the least. But it looked like he was about to, like JT was going to come in and they were going to do a match. But I'll bring up the actual picture in a second if I can find it. But it is quite the outfit, to say the least. Before I can see if I can find it. And now, Crashing Coyote. Breaking news, kinda Star Wars related, but due to the slower than expected launch, Star Wars Outlaws, Ubisoft is delaying Assassin's Creed Shadows until February 14th. How does one have to do with the other, though? You know?
I don't even know if they're the same. They're not the same company, I don't think, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, there seems to be in the gaming industry right now a lot of,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a big revolt, it seems like, in the gaming industry.
It's very interesting, because it's like, wait a minute, how does that, I don't know how the two relate. I have no idea. And then here is the next one, and this is from Crashing Coyote. Assassin's Creed never been delayed since 2007, and no longer doing a third early access that people bitched about Outlaws. How bad did Outlaws do for them to have an emergency board meeting to do this? I mean, like, as Mike says, I don't know enough about the gaming industry to say it, to know, but all I can say is, look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah,
Look at that.
That's an outfit. That's an outfit. So that is that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, so here is another one. Derek Johnson said, throwing in some support for Steph and Mike, and some more support. Yeah, as you guys are 49. That was the one, the Assassin's Creed one. Some more support from Derek. Derek is very, very kind. And Steph, the other movie that you need to see is Wild Robot. You'll love it.
Yes, Wild Robot's the one that's like really come up on my list. And then I forgot to say one of my other favorite movies this year is DD. Have you seen that yet?
No, what's that?
It's like this very 2K love, like, coming of age story.
Huh. No.
It's so cute.
Okay.
It just came out. It's I think so I just saw it in like North Hollywood or something like that.
All right. Just wanted to keep an eye on.
It's so cute.
Mad Sinister McCollum, Mads Mikkelsen, Mike, James Bond's balls are blue. That's what he says.
that they were.
Yeah. Luke Walks the Sky 54. Hey guys, hey Mike, I think I remember that you played Norman Bates for the Terror Tramp for Universal. Which performance did you like more from Anthony Perkins, Psycho or Psycho 2?
Oh, that's a good question.
Great
it's interesting, because you would think Psycho 2, like, it would feel like a cash grab, but because he's so much older in it too, it actually is a really good sequel. Like most times sequels, especially since the first is, one of the greatest thrillers of all time. I think Psycho is listed as AFI or one of those things, greatest film of all time. So you got a tough act to follow, but it's really good.
Yeah,
it's actually really good in how much it progresses the story of him much later in life.
Another one, Curtis Lopez. Hey Mike, I went to Universal Hollywood Horror Nights the other night, and you killed it in the Purge show.
Oh,
And that's
Thank
what
you.
a nice compliment that is. You haven't-
I'm so sad I
I
missed
can't
it.
believe we missed you. Yeah, you missed me. I hate that.
I hate that for me.
I'm having a. Thank you for watching this. Thank you so much. I'm having a blast doing this show.
What can you
good.
say what you do in the show?
Yeah, they take over the Waterworld set, but they turn it into the Purge.
Yeah.
And it's a Purge storyline, and it's like Blumhouse had to involved, and they were approving it and stuff. And I play a founding father politician that's kind of like the main bad guy of the Purge.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
I'm having a blast.
Is there any recording of this?
It's out on. It's public, probably somewhere out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Last year, I didn't do it last year. I was not available for one of the callbacks. But,
We got to find that.
It was the highest rated thing at Halloween Horror Nights. And this year, right now, we're like second behind. I think there's a maze that has like a puke room or something.
Oh, okay. We got
with this one of those smells thing where you walk in and it smells.
Oh
like
wait,
puke.
Steph, you were at Hollywood Horror Nights and you didn't go to it at all?
No,
oh, that's a big boo.
Okay, Kristian.
Boo.
Phrasing. The phrasing is out of control.
What did I say? What did I say?
He were like, and I didn't go. He wasn't there that night.
You didn't go.
If he was
We have
there
two
that night,
casts.
I would have.
Well, you could have texted and find out the schedule.
Okay. I only had one night there. I didn't even go. Like, it wasn't my date. I didn't pick it. But I'm pissed I missed it. There is one. Which one is it? The Texas Chainsaw has a smell, and I really didn't like that.
There's one room that's like a puke room, and
ew.
There you go.
I'm glad I missed that.
Who needs that? Mike Joyce, keep fighting the good fight. Twitter, Mike. Stay off Twitter. It'll make you so much healthier.
Shoulders.
Don't encourage him, please.
Trust me. Hey,
you're the worst on Twitter.
I'll say this,
yeah.
I'm not going to talk about
No, don't do it.
No, I'm not. I'm just going to say, I know I need to step back.
Thank you.
There are times because I'll come home and Shannon will be like, what are you doing? Just stop, Mike. Just stop.
This is why Shannon was the smart one.
I'm aware when I'll waste 5 hours of my day going, what did happen for 5 hours?
What are you
How
doing?
Did I lose this time of my life? I know.
It's like a fever dream.
I'm not proud of it. I'm going to try and do better. I'll just do the rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment. All right, here we go. Spidey sent 72. Bo DeMayo gave a 2-hour interview on the Diabolical Soul show and kind of hinted a lot of things going on with the case. Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I heard about that.
Whose was it on? Was it
the Diabolical Souls is the name of the show. I don't know what it is, but I have to check it out.
Not the best branding.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was.
You want to talk about branding? Every time that guy pops up, he's got his shirt off.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I know, hey, he's got an amazing body. Stop.
Yeah, what do you do?
The things are sexual, whatever conduct. Put a shirt on. Put some pants on.
Mike Joyce.
Present yourself.
Steph, is Honey Bear laying under you right now?
Oh yeah, she is. She's moments away from getting her neck cracked by the wheel of my chair.
Nice.
She's an absolute nut job. I put her out on the deck this morning, and I went out and I couldn't find her on the deck, and I was like, "Oh my god, did she jump off the deck?" And then I was like, "Honey Bear!" All of a sudden, I hear these feet coming, and she is crawling. She's running down from the top of the roof down slope to the deck like a psycho. My daughter. I love her.
Well, just wait until we get a human baby.
I know. The deck will have to be closed off.
100%. Gallaghost, hey, I love X-Men 97, but is there any legal consequences for DeMayo's constant tweeting about current scrap feature Marvel Studios projects? Cheers. It depends on the, what's it called? The
NDAs?
Yes, it depends on the NDAs. It depends on how long that goes, and it depends on, is he breaking NDA? If he's not, then he can tweet all he wants about it. I don't know if there's an NDA on it, so that's the question. Derek Johnson.
Probably isn't.
I don't think so. Derek Johnson, we are in a golden age of gaming and a new Ghost of Yotei follow-up to Ghost of Tsushima on PS5. Are there any games, no matter console, that you're excited for? I'm excited for that Indiana Jones game. Mike, are you excited for that one?
You know, I want to be, but a lot of it is first person, and I'm just like, I don't know. I want to be excited for that game, but I'm not unless it's a shooter, I'm not into first person games.
I'm pretty excited for it, especially the fact that Lucas and Spielberg are involved with it too. So we'll see.
But the new one, they just said Ghost of Yoda or whatever. You remember her, Erika Ishii.
Yeah.
I met her at Schmoedown years ago.
Yeah, she involved in it?
Her Geekdom match. and she's the character.
Oh, she's like the main
She is
character?
the lead character.
Wow, good for her.
She's in Mortal Kombat right now, which I'm playing.
Good for her.
The new kind of expansion. She's Sector, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's kind of exciting that I've known her. I don't know her.
Yeah, she was in one
doesn't remember
Schmodown
me,
match,
but-
wasn't she?
Yeah, Inner Geekdom. That was my first 5-way.
Oh,
she was
wow,
in.
that's hilarious. Okay, so Day Napper. Remember when you wouldn't know about a movie until you saw the trailer in the theater? The good old days. Now we know when a writer buys a new pen before the release. Waiting is the hardest part. That is true, and it's also because of the information age that we live in. That there are still a lot of people that do find out about movies through trailers in the theaters. There's tons of them. But you are watching this show. You are watching other shows. You are paying attention to the news outside of it. So you're going to get caught up in all that. But there's tons of people who have no idea that certain movies are coming out. And they sit in the theater and they haven't gone to the theater in 2 months. And then they find out about all the new movies that are coming out. And that's how they find out about it. That still happens. It's just when you're locked into this, because remember, you were always a movie fan. You were always a big, but the news and those types of things you're talking about, they weren't available to you. If they were back then, you would have been watching them. You would have been listening back then too. There just wasn't a way to get that information to you. But now there is, and that's the business we play in. Whether you're a fan or doing this type of stuff, it's just that's how it works. Mad Sinister McCall, Mads Mikkelsen, Steph, did you steal my Funyuns?
Yes.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And they were really good. Thank you.
I like that you steal, but yet you don't lie about it. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
You just
don't
gotta be
double up.
upfront.
Yeah, you don't double up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm taking did you guys happen to see the interview with Patti LuPone and Aubrey Plaza for Hot Ones?
No.
No.
Is it good?
Oh my gosh. Patty is actually such a prized possession of this universe. It's crazy. And so is Aubrey Plaza. But they're doing this Hot Ones versus. So basically there's death wings on the table and they're super hot. And if you don't answer the question, you have to take a bite of it. The whole time Patty's pretty legendary. But then Aubrey Plaza's like, I don't know what you're gonna do because you either have to answer it or eat the wing. But this question was different. She goes, Patty, you were on record saying that you thought the pop icon Madonna was a bad actress and quote unquote a movie killer. I'm giving you the moment right now to look direct into camera and apologize to the pop icon. And
Nice.
without a second's hesitation.
Oh, she freezes up. Perfect. Look at that.
Look at that.
You don't
Suspense is killing me.
you don't get better timing on that. Look at that.
Can you hear me?
You froze right as you were delivering that line. I don't know. You
No.
usually have great internet too, so
Yeah, what is this?
I don't
Can
know.
you hear me?
now I can, yeah.
Okay, so she takes the death wing, looks dead straight into camera, and eats the entire thing. And I just think if you're gonna, it's not that I haven't seen Madonna in a movie, I don't know, but the way she was like, I said what I said. That's
Yeah.
what we need more of.
Okay, fair enough. That's you. Gala Ghost. I was recently laid off. I'm sorry, man. And I was wondering what you three do to stay level-headed between work. Thanks, everyone, and keep the conversations going. Well, Mike can't answer that because Mike doesn't stay level-headed. You don't stay level-headed.
No, I don't. But
No.
you know,
But
I'll tell you what I do,
yes,
pal.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do?
Someone gave me this
Tweets.
advice, and again, it's different. My career, what I do for a living. They had said to me, and which kind of helps me put my mindset. It's like, Mike, if you're going to be a successful actor, your life is going to be a series of part-time jobs.
Yeah.
I've never really had a full-time job per se because it's always something has always had to end.
Sure.
So I just find stuff you love to do that's not related to your career. There's so much that I do, like Schmodown for years got me through the acting stuff when that was not there and the auditions weren't there. And so find something you love that's not related to your work at all. And whatever that is. And that kind of helps bridge the gap on those downtimes. And my life is always constantly hustling for something. So it's
sage advice.
Yeah.
Sage advice. Thank you, Mike. And yeah, my only thing is I'd say, it's like, look, you just got married. Enjoy your lovely bride and do what you have to do and do your environment, everything you do. Like Mike said, just get your mind off things. It'll come. It's like relationships. It's like when you're not looking for it, that's when it shows up. When you start like really kind of pushing hard and trying to, it's like it just drives you nuts mentally. Yeah.
Yeah, and something I know it's a cliche and it always says, but it always feels like at the time it's not right.
Yeah.
But a year later, whatever, you're like, yeah, that's why I was supposed to leave that.
100%. 100%.
And you know, it sounds so, fortune cookie-ish, but
no, you're right. I think you're right.
That way.
You're right.
No, Harry's on me about understanding finances better, which I'm working on. So he's just like my mom. My mom used to give me books every time she wanted me to work on something.
Yeah.
And Harry dropped off a book on my desk because he knows I love reading. And it's called Think and Grow Rich, which I guess is a book many people in business and just trying to help their money read. And one of the first chapters, so I'm reading that, and I'll let you know if it's a good read for you, because I'm kind of in that predicament. But the first chapter is like, people always quit right before they find what it is.
That's 100%.
It's like a known thing that you're gonna hit failure, and it's about just keep going, because people 99% of the time hit failure and give up. But if you just keep going, there's something on the other side.
Well, there you go. Again, good advice from both you guys. All right, guys, you guys are only 14 away from tying Roka right now. Derek Johnson.
Nice.
Just so people don't misunderstand, I'm not knocking Jeff. I found it hilarious because of how he was putting on a show about it. Yeah, I'm sure. That's what Jeff does. Jeff's a showman. Derek Johnson, here's some more support. Thank you, Derek.
Thanks, Derek.
Derek is like single. He was the one who helped Winston get over the 103.
Oh, nice.
So he finished. He follows up. Should Star Wars have lore masters for TV and movies? Yes. Who can consolidate and organize the lore and history? Yes. They already have that. Not well. As someone who isn't a diehard fan but has watched all the content, even I'm confused by the prophecies and lore. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I almost feel, and they would never do it, and I understand why people would argue against it. But I almost feel like, Steph, if they were like, hey, look, we're resetting this whole damn thing. We're not going to remake episode 4, 5, and 6. We're not going to remake it. You can't do that. But if they're just like, we're just resetting everything and we're starting off with new tales, new characters, everything else, you're never going to touch anything that was ever made before, and it's all brand new stuff here. So be. That's why I think they should play in Knights of the Republic. You can live in that era for 30 years,
right.
real years.
Yeah, I agree. They need to either go way back or way forward and kind of just shuffle the entire board. And they do need to hire a lore master. And it could also be as simple as, if they don't want to hire some massive budget role, they could hire research interns and researchers who make not that much money and have read all the books, have read the comics, have watched all the movies and know the lore, and you just go to them.
Yeah.
For questions about your story.
Yes, exactly. But they don't do that. Chris Jones, have you heard the latest reports that the Acolyte actually cost $230 million? That's $28 million per 30-minute episode. House of the Dragon cost $20 million per 1-hour episode. I don't know where that report comes, so I can't speak on whether it's accurate or not. But I mean, the fact that it was 180 was too much. 230, it's like. Look, we had a full conversation on this the other day, Roka and myself, on Monday, of just it is time to move on, guys. It's time to move on. How are they still sitting in this thing because of all the Rey news? And then, Mike, I saw the back and forth that you went on Twitter, of course, about the Taika Waititi thing, which I thought your tweet was actually pretty funny about. It was like, yeah, they canceled that. That movie was placed on indefinite hold, the second Love and Thunder, to which some bonehead then's like, we get it, you don't like women in movies. Like, this is you clearly, but you clearly don't know who this is if you're saying that.
Of all people,
yes, that's just one of those people.
That's ridiculous.
That's just someone who sees something on Twitter and goes, "Oh, it's because you don't like women."
You're just taking a
moron.
Brief look at my wall.
Of course. It's like you can't. That's what I'm telling you. But it's like you can't win though. But you can't. But that's what I'm saying. Can't. That's I get these comments sometimes. Every single time when it comes to like an out of the theater reaction, let me guess, he hated it. And then 5 seconds later, let me guess, he loved it. And I said, guys, you have to all go to the same meeting. You have to. You got to go to the same meeting. You got to vote. And you got to say which one. He hates everything. He loves everything. What is it? Because
but not only that, you got to go to the same meeting and get some help, guys.
Yeah.
Because every single time I did a True Lies video, which I remember liking the movie, but apparently I didn't like it enough. And I'm like, oh, because she hates men. She doesn't understand humor.
Right.
First of all, I'm funnier than you and your dad.
Damn.
So this is like not even a discussion.
Damn. I like what you're doing right now. I like it. But yeah, as far as that kind of money, if it is 230, It's an embarrassment. It is. And I have no problem every single time where people are like, will say, well, all he does is he hates Star Wars. I don't hate Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I hope Star Wars really gets its stuff back together in the same way that like I love the Yankees, and they're playing good right now. Yankees are playing good right now, and
that's good.
And they have a chance to get it done. I hope that we get a team in place with Lucasfilm to get it done. Callum Fadian, what are some of your favorite sports? So for me, it's baseball, football, MMA. Those are the ones that I like. I mean, when I was single, I'd go to fights all the damn time. I loved going to Vegas to watch the fights, whether it was boxing, MMA. I did that all the time. I used to go for like weekends. Steph, are you what? I know what you played, but what about as far as watching goes?
I love basketball, and I like highlights of most sports.
Okay.
Like most sports highlights, I will definitely and do watch.
Mhm.
And then as of post-Olympic era, the Kim Ye-ji, the Korean sharpshooter, that's a sport that I actually might start watching because that was the coolest woman I've ever seen on TV in my entire life.
All right, Mike. The answer is nothing, right?
You got that right, pal.
Thought so.
I'm not a sports guy.
No, I know. I'm not making fun of you.
You could say, Mike, I'm going to name a football team and name me one player on that team.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Could you tell me who the baseball team in Baltimore is?
Orioles.
Nice. Okay. That's all. I'm not.
I do like MMA too. Okay. I'll say that. I watch that with my dad.
What about MMA 3? Dad joke.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right. Derek Johnson. And here's some more support. Derek Johnson is the man. He also says, is the weekly release formula on streaming good for regular viewers? I feel it is. I gravitate towards Netflix so much more because I just get to settle down and watch my whole show. Yeah, but the thing, Derek, you might have the time to do that, but like, I think that it's easier. Like, if I don't have an excuse for Shogun because Shogun was week to week, and they did that well. I think that there's a reason it was in the conversation as long as it was is because it was week to week, and I think that you help a show like that where if that show would have dumped all in one day, would it have won all the awards? Maybe, but it doesn't get the kind of hype that it does because people kept talking about it. And I feel like there's other shows that just get lost in the mix.
Yeah, I really believe that. And I also think that it helps other shows, especially when you're in fall TV mode. If all of Agatha and all of Penguin dropped at once, I would have been like, oh, I don't know where to go. But instead, I was like, I could happily watch all of the episodes and be so excited for this week where I have more episodes to watch.
It is the one thing that I think Acolyte did right by doing week to week. It's like it was still in the conversation every week, and it's still people are still talking about it, regardless of whether they liked it. It was still in the conversation as opposed to like one big drop. And maybe that's why they did like Echo the way they did for Marvel, where it's like just because I don't think that show was terrible. It's just kind of blah, but they're like just let's put it out there quick, and then people will talk about it for like 2 weeks and then not talk about it anymore. Callum, again, have any of you seen Succession? Thank you, Callum. Just finished season 3. No spoilers, please. Some of the best writing I've ever seen. Absolutely blown away. I think I've watched 2 episodes and thought it was. Did you watch the whole thing, Steph? Succession?
Oh no, I haven't.
Oh, okay. People love that.
Yeah, I know. I need to watch it, but I think it's one of those where I do need to sit down and binge it because every time I start, I get like 2 episodes in. And I'm like, this is really good, and I'm interested in all the characters. I just don't go. I haven't just fully finished it.
Mike, no, right?
No, I don't know watch Succession.
Okay. Mike Joyce, why do you think people hate musicals so much? I think it's just a kind of forgotten format, forgotten art. I like musicals very much. I was also a theater kid, like Mike in Florida State stuff too. So I like musicals. I'm going to see a Broadway show pretty soon, but not everybody is. Mike, do you have an opinion on why you think that people dislike musicals so much?
I don't know.
They can't connect to it, people just breaking into song?
Maybe because they're used to musicals being like live theater, and that's, their exposure to it growing up. Maybe they always knew musicals or Broadway or their school plays or whatever. So they're like, why is it putting in a musical into TV films? I don't know. I have no idea.
I think that there's a few things that they're not marketed well. and they're expensive. And
Yeah.
so a lot of people miss out on the opportunity to watch a really great play. They're very expensive if you're watching one that's, like
Sure.
Hamilton when it came out,
Sure.
or
Super
any
expensive.
of them. Yeah.
It's an event.
And so that's inaccessible. So a lot of people just don't like it. And then it's also so easy to hate theater kids and theater.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
the
true.
biggest, easiest target. But once you watch a play,
Yeah, but they're talking more about musicals.
95%.
I think they're talking about
Oh,
musicals and
music.
movies, though, because like musicals and movies, like they don't, the studios don't even market anymore that it's musicals because people shy away from them so much. And I think I
Right.
think people just can't connect to it, and it sucks them out. Like when there's like a big moment and then someone breaks into song. But I think that's
Yes.
that's part of the art. But
I don't love musical movies.
Yeah,
I'm not saying there's not
yeah.
a musical movie that hasn't hit for me, because that's not true. There
Mhm.
are some, but for the most part, I'm like, I could have done without the song.
Right, and I think a lot of people, I think it's a forgotten art. Gala goes, Mike, I instinctively said out loud, "It's okay, guys," when I heard the barks on the show on my soundbar, and I just woke up Brody. Perfect. So, poor guy. The Raven Effect comes in and says, I watched a trailer today for A Real Pain starring Kieran Culkin and Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse wrote and directed it. Looked like a really complex buddy film with some humor and heart. Have any of you seen it? I saw that they released a trailer. I did not see it yet, but I did when I was looking at stories today. I saw that, and I saw that he was directing it, but I did not see it. It looks like it sounds interesting. Any of you guys seen that one or heard about it?
I've not.
Okay. Steph? No?
I heard about it. I just haven't seen the trailer.
Okay. Thanks for bringing it up to us. Tiberius Monk. Howdy, Kristian. Hey, Steph. Hey, Mike. Just wanted to support the show. Also, I'm a black person, and I thought the first Gladiator 2 trailer sucked because of the music choice. Absolutely terrible. Thank you, Tiberius. Yeah, it was exactly. It just didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't fit. It just took you out of the movie because it was like it just did two different things. There was some movie. What the hell was it? I can't remember. I was watching something with my wife, and there was some music that was just taking us right out of the movie because I was like, oh, I can't remember. But sometimes music choices, to me, especially with me, I'm just so attached to music when I'm watching it that it sets the mood for everything. So if it's a trailer and it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't work. Okay, guys, you guys are 12 away from tying Roka. All right, to which Derek says, I can't let Steph and Mike not have at least one winning week. I'm happy to contribute to that possibility. All right, well,
Nice.
we're going to see.
Thank you.
I don't think the two of them have been together, so they're putting up a hell of a show here today. Luke walks the sky. Hey, Mike, have you seen The Penguin yet? If so, what did you think?
I did. I caught it. I hadn't been able to watch it on the day it dropped. I watched it 2 nights ago, and my one concern that I was worried about was like keeping up the visual language that they created in the movie, but that was instantly wiped away when I saw that. Like it feels that Matt Reeves lived in world. I loved it. I was like, and for a while I was like, I had heard rumors that Pattinson was going to make an appearance either as Bruce Wayne or Batman, and then he recently came out and said no, he's not in it. So I was a little bummed at first, but now I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Do you
matter.
believe it though?
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
Maybe he's
that's the
kind of
other
doing a redirect.
Well, all right.
I'm a little curious because they talked about Mark Strong recently being his role was revealed to be Falcone, which was Turturro, and they said they couldn't get him. So I'm like, well, all right. So they're going to be doing some flashbacks then because he's clearly dead.
Could be. Yeah, we'll
By
see.
the time the movie picks up, but yeah, man.
Yeah. Tiberius Monk. Question: name one death in film and TV that impacted you. My answers are Nikki Santoro from Casino and Lenore Usher from Fall of the House of the Usher. TV, I think, I think it was tough when I'm trying. There's so many that I'm probably gonna. When Hank, well, I don't want to spoil it for people. If I saw some of the things, I guess it's season 1 of Game of Thrones, the end of Game of Thrones, season 1.
Oh my God.
There's a big one, and also an obscure movie, as we've been talking about Julia Roberts for so long. There's a movie that she did that was it was about 5-10 years ago, and I think it was Shiva Ejiofor that she was in it with, and she played a mom, and I think she was a detective or something in the beginning. She found her daughter dead in the beginning.
Oh, I remember that movie.
It was a brutal scene to watch. Really hard to watch. She was very well acted by her, but hard to watch. I can never watch it again. Anything that
yeah, you were part of me, Harloff.
Yeah.
It was in Dead Reckoning when Ilsa Faust died.
What?
Mission Impossible.
Oh, I was with you. Yeah.
Remember,
Okay.
I was like the only one in the audience because we saw the critic
Yeah.
screening, but I was the only man in the audience that like gasped out loud.
Yeah. Steph, you got one?
Yeah, that was a big one.
The only one that just came to mind because of the Dancing with the Stars big controversy is Marissa from the OC.
Okay.
I remember because did you guys see what happened?
No.
Okay, so she's a very controversial person right now in general. I guess for the past few years she was involved with like some fraud and stealing from friends and family allegedly. I haven't read too much into the case, so I don't want to say too much, but so she was on Dancing with the Stars, with which people were like, what already? And then I guess she like lost on the first episode, and they're like, what'd you learn? And she's like, nothing.
Perfect. There you go, Steph. I love how these people crack up. Derek Johnson, you all should try a shot. It's called Chocolate Cake Shot. Frangelica, vanilla vodka, cut of lemon with sugar on top. Tastes like chocolate cake. I have heard of it, haven't taken it, but that does sound delicious. Gotta be honest with you. And then to which Derek says, I'm doing this to get you to 50 at least. You did that and more. Support. Derek's really trying hard here today as we're at 64, 10 away from tying Roca before we end. And then Galagost, one for Steph. And Vincent Zadwa. The Substance is one of my favorites of the year. I'm hearing great things about The Substance. I don't know about you guys.
The Substance.
That's the one with Demi Moore.
Oh, yeah, I'm hearing good things about this,
it's supposed
too.
To be really good. Galagos says this one's for Mike. Thank you. And then one to pay it forward and get you to 50, Kristian. So there we go. So 60. So we hit that back. And then Carver Tate says, here's a little thank you for the joy you bring to my life on a daily basis. I would love those sweet comments, and we hear these things, and it's like it doesn't ever change the feeling when someone says that the three of us kind of just goofing around, talking, having fun, that it brings kind of joy into somebody's life.
I'll tell you the amount of people, and maybe it's because either through Schmodown or this show or sit that talk about people know where I work, and can see me. The amount of times I'm just walking through City Walk or something at lunch or somewhere, and people come up to me and introduce themselves through fans of Schmodown or Big Thing. Like it never loses its
no, of course not. It's not. Yeah, it's very really cool. It's really. I was at the train station. I was trying to catch a train, and there was a guy and his girlfriend. He's like, "Hey, I watch you." And I was like, "That's great." And he's like, "Can I take a picture?" And I'm like, "Of course you can." And it's like you always feel bad if people feel like I'm always. It's super humbling and very nice. Patty Boy, the writers on Thunderbolts is an all-star team. I liked that trailer. I thought that trailer was pretty.
The trailer looked real.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I was surprised.
Better than the Comic-Con preview.
I was very surprised on how that trailer turned out. Luke Walks the Sky. The twist for Psycho 2 works. You practically root for Norman to keep his sanity, and Meg Tilly was perfect in that also. I can't even tell you if I remember, A, if I've ever seen Psycho 2, and 2, if I remember it. Did you like Psycho 2?
I haven't seen either.
You haven't seen either ever? Wow, that's got to be something you got to watch.
No, but I know the shower scene, but that's it.
Yeah, right. You've got to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So Joey Pedros, in a recent EW interview, Matt Reeves said there would still be more shows in the universe. What do you think that could be? Until I hear James Gunn say it, I don't know, because he's the one that's got to make the shots. Matt Reeves can say it all day long. As James Gunn's got to say it.
I think the Batman universe has a finite life to it.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do his trilogy, and in between that, pepper in these shows, which is fine. It doesn't need to run forever.
Yeah.
I definitely think we are getting season 2 of Penguin, right? They already greenlit that, right? I think that's a go.
I don't know.
I think that's like going.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Especially filling in, it's taking 4 or 5 years for second film. If it's going to take another 3-4 years between the second and third film, put a couple of TV shows in there.
Well, especially if we know if the second show is going to lead into the second movie or what. I mean, if the show is going to lead into the movie or what, that will be interesting to see because it is like you were saying. I saw Kristian's review, like the sequel to the Batman. It just picks up right there.
Yeah.
And I really look. We'll see what happens as it moves forward. I don't know what they're going to do with the universe, but the show is great so far. Derek Johnson, you never have to step back, Mike. Not 1 second. Never have to step back from idiots. I think for his own mental health, he should stick back. So I mean, I know.
I know. Trust me, because it's like I'm never gonna change anyone, and they're not gonna change me.
No, you just scream it into a void.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, Mike Joyce, did you see the new photo of a UAP that was shot down last year? Was that the Alaska one? I did. I'm probably going to do a video on that one today, if that was the case. I did see that, though.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Day Napper. Sam's reaction to Logan goes to show how great that movie is. You were so into the movie without seeing anything before. Keep introducing people to movies your way. Thank you, Day Napper. So basically the way that came in is that I not by many, most people were pretty excited about it, but there were some people who were like, why are you showing her that one first and not the X-Men movies? It's like, because we're leading to Deadpool. And if we lead to Deadpool and Wolverine, then it's going to have more of an impact. Plus, I wanted to see how someone could hear, how someone could see that for the first time and actually react to it, and if it had, like, not being attached to it, if it worked, and it did. Luke walks the sky. Guys, hear me out. The Batman 2 sets up the diddler for the third film and trying to find the 1,500 bottles of baby oil missing in Gotham. Oh, man. Pete did it.
God.
That's tough. Patty Boy, if God exists, what would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates? Also, what's your favorite curse word? That's a full-on inside the actor studio questions we're getting here. God, let's see. What took you so long? And then, what's your favorite curse word? Fuckface.
Okay. Okay. You're even more beautiful in person.
Nice. I like that. I like that.
And yeah, it's gotta be just fuck is the best word. But what has Harry been calling people lately? It's so funny. Like
ass
swamp
face?
duck?
Oh.
Swamp dunk? I don't know.
I don't know if that's a curse.
The F word is the most universal word of all time.
Mike, 2 questions quick, and then we have 15 minutes to finish up the rest of the questions. So,
you did good, kid. And then fucktard.
That's okay.
Yeah,
it's a good way to do something to not get you too in trouble. All right, so let's see. Next one is Steve S. Hey Steph, have you ever watched Aussie rules football like AFL, full contact without the pads like in the NFL?
No, but I don't think that's my problem with the NFL is it's modern day Gladiator. I just feel like I'm watching CTE on the live cam, and I can't separate myself, even though I do think it's such a cool, skilled sport.
Just
like I said, I watched the highlights, but no, I couldn't watch without pads.
Okay.
I guess that's rugby, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Derek, Twitter Steph made an appearance. I'm all here for it. I don't take no shit, Steph. To which,
I made an appearance.
Yeah, your Twitter, because when you said the you said something before that I said, yeah, I like that. Tell him how. Oh, you said I'm funny. I'm funny.
Twitter stuff. Yeah.
Then,
I have such a hard time tweeting now that it's called X.
I know. Well, people in general, people say that. People say that. It's harder to do. And then Jason Trenner, just trying to help my favorite Sith to beat Roka. So they want you guys to win. We don't have a
nice.
And Derek's just firing in a bunch to try to push you guys over now too. So that's pretty awesome. Luke walks the sky. The substance is like modern Cronenberg body horror. Steph should defiantly react to his movies like The Fly, Videodrome, The Brood, and Society. I'd love to see Steph do this. What's your next one that you're reacting to, Steph?
Next movie?
With Cinepals.
Oh, I don't. We did. Oh my God.
Which one?
We did Hereditary.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I heard it's brutal, right?
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You couldn't do it,
and
right?
Then, one coming up that I absolutely adore. Couldn't believe I hadn't seen it. Speaking of Francis Ford Coppola, is
Dracula?
Yes.
Oh, it's great, Dracula.
It's so good.
Ullman's Dracula?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's so
the
good.
amount, Steph, if you get a chance, have you watched it yet or no?
Yes.
Go online. They have they show you how they've done certain of the effects in the film.
Yeah.
It's all in camera stuff. It's awesome.
Okay,
Awesome
yeah,
movie.
I will, because I saw that it was all practical, and I was thinking, how?
There's one scene where he's walking forward, he goes out of camera, and then he comes behind him. And it's just
so that's a perfect example. This just shows you how much people love Keanu Reeves, because Keanu Reeves is still such a great movie star. He is not the best fit for that film.
Oh no.
No.
He said it.
Yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola said it. And then I was reading Francis Ford Coppola. This is the irony of time. Is he wanted Johnny Depp, and the execs told him he's not a big enough star.
Oh wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So we got a couple left. And that is, did we do that? Okay. So JMB again, diddle juice. Oh no. Derek Johnson just put another one in there to support, to try to beat the record for this week. Now, to beat the overall record is going to be tough. Mike Joyce puts in one. Steph, watching The Substance would be like the video of Makuga watching Hereditary. Comedy gold. Did he try to watch? Did Makuga watch that? I'm not sure if he did. To which,
crazy.
yeah.
like
So
that dude.
Derek Johnson says, "Do we break that record yet?" So the answer to that question: did Mike and Steph beat Roka's record this week? The answer is yes.
Hey!
79 for Mike. Now, can you get? Now the question is, Coy and Winston have an opportunity, because tomorrow I'm going to be going it up by myself and I'm going to play. Clark Wolf was on the show, and I'm going to play her interview that we had. So the chances of me breaking it by myself is slim to none. But the idea of having Winston and Coy, they still got a shot. But if they can get to 80, but we did it. We got all the questions, and I really appreciate it. There was a lot that we got to today, guys. It was a fun show. I liked talking about it. And how do you like? Well, Mike, are we getting you back on Wednesday? Because like the gang was back together again. It was nice.
I'll know by Fridays.
Okay.
Yeah, they worked out really nice this week.
Yeah. Oh, and there you go. We hit 80, guys. So Luke Walks the
nice.
Sky hit us with 80. So
Nice.
80. Steph, I'll see you again on Tuesday for sure. Where can they find you?
At Steph Sabra and the Whirl Girls.
Is a new episode coming out tonight?
Yes, 6
Nice.
p.m. PT.
Mike, how about yourself?
At Mike Kalinowski.
It's
where you get the Twitter mic. Get the Twitter mic there. I'm keeping him off the channel. It's gonna be like a double act. You get two of me for the price of one.
Yeah.
Good luck to you all. Thanks for joining us here. I really appreciate it. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify, as I said. If you want to help us out and you're able to, you can go and you can get one of those things for yourself with our sponsors. Helps out tremendously. Thank you to everybody who put their questions in today. You're part of it. Whoever was just in the live chat in general. The community here has been wonderful over the last couple of weeks as we've been doing these live shows. So it's been fun, man. The experiment has been working as far as us continuing to do this. Please check out the reactions that I'm doing. I'd love for you guys to meet the new crew. We've had both Matt, Sarah, my wife Sadie has done some stuff. We have Agatha, one that's dropping together. Sam and I are doing Deadpool. We had that Logan one up there. Tina and I did Long Legs. So there's so much. So thanks for joining us. As always, we'll see you on the flip side. Thanks again. Bye-bye. Perfect. Not exactly what I wanted. Where is it? There we go.